Hello there, welcome to News at 10 on Rajya Sabha television. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you. The Supreme Court's verdict on right to privacy is our top focus this morning. Now, the 9-judge bench is to rule today. The ruling is expected to be delivered at 10:30 a.m. That is our big focus this morning. Let us take a look at the other top stories in the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to hold talks with the Nepalese counterpart Sher Bahadur Deuba, both the leaders to discuss issues troubling bilateral ties. Prime Minister asks the Railway Minister Suresh Prabhu to continue after he offers to resign following back-to-back railway accidents. Ashwini Lohani named new Railway Board Chairman. Senior army commanders of India and Pakistan hold a flag meet at a line of control in Jammu and Kashmir. Both sides agree on importance to exercise restraint. At least 41 people killed in airstrikes at a small hotel in Yemen's capital Sana'a. This after Saudi-led coalition steps up airstrikes against Houthi rebels and allies. And Saina Nehwal, Kidambi Srikanth and B. Sai Praneeth enter pre-quarterfinals in singles event of the World Badminton Championships in Glasgow. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Nepal Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba will hold talks today in the national capital. Both the leaders are expected to resolve some of the issues troubling bilateral relations. Besides reviewing the entire relationship, the effort will also be to cement trade and economic ties in the face of challenges from China. A short while back, he was accorded a ceremonial reception at the Rashtrapati Bhavan.
An unscheduled meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Nepalese counterpart Sher Bahadur Deuba at the former's residence. This is Deuba's first trip abroad since assuming office in June this year. Prime Minister Narendra Modi tweeting he looks forward to extensive talks today. The two Prime Ministers will review the entire gamut of bilateral ties and discuss ways to further deepen relationship in a range of areas including trade and investment. Later on Wednesday, Deuba attended a business meet organized by the ASSOCHAM. India has said that if Nepal approves, it would like to lay a transnational natural gas pipeline. Prime Minister Deuba invited Indian companies to open their units in Nepal.
अक्टूबर तक अगर आपकी समय रहे, आपको सुविधा हो, तो हम दोनों देशों की सीमा में भारत और नेपाल की पहला प्रोडक्ट पाइपलाइन की नींव रखेंगे और समय के हिसाब से उसको हम पूरा करेंगे। जो पाइपलाइन आने वाले कई सालों तक 2 मिलियन मेट्रिक टन कैपेसिटी को पाइपलाइन आने वाले कई दशकों तक नेपाल की आवश्यकताओं को पूरा करेगी।
We are ready to gather pace and we warmly invite you to engage with us. We welcome you to do business in Nepal, invest there, create jobs and nurture the new climate of innovation and entrepreneurship. I call upon both our business community to work together. This is the only way to advance our goal, greater prosperity by building on the strong social ties and heritage that we share.
Deuba also met the Nepalese community in Delhi and assured them of better days between the two countries. Deuba's visit comes at a time when both countries, despite having a unique relationship, are faced with the need to resolve issues related to mutual confidence.
जो भी कोई छोटा राष्ट्र होगा और चीन और भारत जैसे दो महाराष्ट्रों के बड़े राष्ट्रों के बीच में होगा, उसमें एक स्वाभाविक और नया जिस युग में हम जी रहे हैं उसमें राष्ट्रभक्ति एक महत्वपूर्ण भाव है.
Our army chief is honorary army chief of India and your army chief is honorary army chief of Nepal. This kind of relationship we are having, I think it is very unique. Also, For both the countries' citizens level, we are having this equal national treatment. For example, I can, being a Nepali, having Nepali passport or Nepali citizenship, I can stay in India.
The Nepalese Prime Minister arrived in Delhi on Wednesday with his wife Arzu Deuba and a high-level delegation of ministers and top bureaucrats. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj received him at the airport. Today he will meet President Rajnath Singh, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and leaders of various political parties. During his stay, Deuba will also visit Hyderabad and Gaya.
India-Nepal relationship has to be eased, and it will require great efforts from both the governments. And if it is done, this will be the biggest achievement of this visit. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Television with camera person Dusmanta in Delhi.
And Home Minister Rajnath Singh will attend a meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organisation on disaster prevention and relief in Kyrgyz Republic today. The meeting aims to focus on prevention and elimination of emergency situations. Now, during the visit, the Home Minister is likely to hold bilateral meetings with the ministers of some of the SCO member states. The Indian delegation includes senior officials from the Home Ministry, the National Disaster Management Authority and the External Affairs Ministry. India got the full membership of SCO this year.
Honorable Home Minister is here for the 9th meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Ministers on Emergency Situations, which is referred to as disaster management in our parlance. Basically, this meeting is a multilateral meeting which in India has joined recently the forum. And on the sidelines, we may have one or two bilateral meetings if the time permits. We are hoping to have a meeting with Russia and Kazakhstan.
The Army commanders of India and Pakistan on Wednesday held a flag meeting on the line of control in Jammu and Kashmir. The battalion commander level officers meeting was held at Chakandabag in Poonch sector. Now, at the meeting, the Indian side highlighted abetment and support of the Pakistani army to cross-border terrorism, sniping actions on the line of control and deliberate targeting of civil population during the ceasefire violations. Both the sides mutually agreed to the importance of exercising restraint on the line of control and keeping the channels of communication open between local commanders. Remember, 2017 has seen a sharp increase in ceasefire violations by Pakistan. Till 1st of August, there were 285 such violations by the Pakistani army. On to some other news. The government has decided to set up an alternative mechanism to oversee proposals for consolidation of the public sector banks. The cabinet also approved a proposal for the setting up of a commission to examine the sub-categorization of the other backward classes. Here are the details.
The Union Cabinet, chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, gave its in-principle approval for the merger of state-owned banks. With this, the government seeks to consolidate 21 state-owned banks in the country. The proposal to merge will come from respective PSU bank boards, and the consolidation plans will be examined by a panel of ministers to be picked up by the Prime Minister himself. The consolidation plan follows a successful integration of State Bank of India with its 5 associate banks and the Bharatiya Mahila Bank.
The object is to create strong banks, and our experience of consolidation has been positive so far. It adds commercial strength, it prevents multiplicity of resources being spent in the same area.
The Cabinet also approved a proposal for setting up a commission under Article 340 of the Constitution to examine the issue of subcategorization of the other backward classes. The Commission shall submit its report within 12 weeks from the date of appointment of the chairperson of the Commission.
1992 में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी एक जजमेंट इस संबंध में दिया था, तो कहा था कि सब कैटेगराइजेशन किया जा सकता है। जब राज्यों ने किया था और कुछ रीट दायर हुई थी तो उसमें भी, और अभी 2015 में भी जो ओबीसी कमीशन था ईश्वरैया जी की अध्यक्षता वाला, उन्होंने भी रिकमेंड की थी, कोई आज नई बात नहीं है।
The Cabinet also approved the renaming of the new central sector scheme Sampada, Scheme for Agro-Marine Processing and Development of Agro-Processing Clusters as Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana for the period of 2016-20. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Finance Ministry on Wednesday formally announced the launch of the new 200 rupee note. The printing process of the new currency is almost over and the Reserve Bank of India is likely to circulate them by next month. Here is a report.
The Reserve Bank of India is set to introduce 200 rupee currency notes for the first time in history. The Finance Ministry specified the new 200 rupee currency notes in a Gazette notification on Wednesday. These notes are expected to help bridge the gap between 100 and 500 rupee currency notes.
ये इसकी जो पूरी प्रक्रिया है कि कब तक वो उसकी छपाई होगा इसका संचालन आरबीआई देखेगा और इसलिए उसकी डेट वगैरह भी आरबीआई के लिए ही बताना उचित होगा.
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley on Wednesday put at rest rumours of 2,000 rupee currency notes being out, saying that the government has no plan to do so.
2000 रुपए के नोट का क्या होगा? क्या सरकार की कोई प्लानिंग है उसको बंद करने की या फेज आउट करने की? क्योंकि इसको लेकर बहुत
ऐसी कोई चर्चा नहीं सुनी.
This is the fourth new note to be announced since November, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced an overnight ban on 1,000 and 500 rupee currency notes. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, Railway Minister Suresh Prabhu offered to resign after back-to-back train derailments in Uttar Pradesh. He met Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday and offered to quit. The Prime Minister has, however, asked him to continue. Now, 100 people were injured after the Delhi-bound Kaifiyat Express derailed in Oriya. Rescue operations following the incident ended yesterday.
Railway Minister Suresh Prabhu offering to quit on Wednesday. His offer coming on a day of the second train accident in 5 days in Uttar Pradesh. The Railway Minister in a series of tweets saying he met the Prime Minister and took full moral responsibility for the accidents. Suresh Prabhu saying he was extremely pained by the two derailments in Uttar Pradesh. He also added that in less than 3 years he has devoted his blood and sweat for the betterment of the railways and has tried to overcome decades of neglect. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, however, has asked Prabhu to continue. The fallout of the accident of the Kaifiyat Express on Wednesday in Auraiya in Uttar Pradesh was that the Railway Board Chairman A.K. Mittal resigned, with Air India Chief Ashwani Lohani, a railway engineer, being named as his successor.
Well, accountability is a good system in government.
If the railway ministers...
No, the Prime Minister will take a decision on whatever request the Railway Minister has made.
The Congress, however, saying the Railway Minister has failed and demanded his resignation.
एक बात सच्चाई की सामने है कि रेल हादसे अब भारतीय रेल का पर्यायवाची बन गए हैं और उसका कारण है न राजनीतिक जवाबदेही है और न प्रशासनिक सक्षमता. दोनों में बुरी तरह से रेल मंत्री और रेल मंत्रालय औंधे मुंह गिरे हैं. उन्हें उनका इस्तीफा मंजूर हो या उन्हें पदमुक्त किया जाए और प्रधानमंत्री ये बताएं कि रेल सुरक्षा को लेकर वो क्या कदम उठाएंगे.
10 coaches of the Kaifiyat Express train derailed in UP's Auraiya district after crashing into a dumper which strayed onto the tracks. Police said about 100 passengers were wounded.
कॉरिडोर पे मिट्टी का काम ऐसे चल रहा है, लेकिन रात के 2 बजे 2:30 बजे जनरली कॉरिडोर पे कोई मिट्टी का काम होता नहीं है और अभी तक हमारी जानकारी के अनुसार से ये डीएफसी का कोई लिंक नहीं है इसके साथ. है बिल्कुल. ये जो हमारा डंपर ड्राइवर है, अब बताइए हमारी ट्रेन चल रही है, बगल में फेंसिंग है, उसको तोड़ के डंपर ड्राइवर अगर आ जाएगा रात में, बीच रात में है, तो उसकी पूरी लापरवाही है और डंपर ड्राइवर के मालिक और ड्राइवर दोनों के खिलाफ कार्रवाई होगी.
The accident comes 5 days after 13 coaches of the Kalinga Utkal Express derailed in Khatoli in Uttar Pradesh on August 19, killing 22 people and injuring 156. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And the big story that will make headlines through the day today, the Supreme Court will deliver its much-awaited verdict on whether right to privacy of citizens is a fundamental right under the Constitution of India. The judgment will be delivered by a 9-judge constitution bench led by Chief Justice of India, J.S. Kehar. The court had earlier reserved its verdict on 3rd of August after marathon hearings. A bunch of petitions were filed in the Apex Court in 2015, challenging Aadhaar as a breach of privacy. The Constitution bench, which was to deal with the pleas challenging the validity of the Aadhaar scheme and the right to privacy attached to it, was with the past 2 verdicts which were delivered in 1950 and 1962 by larger benches, holding that the privacy right was not a fundamental right. The centre has submitted in the court that the right to privacy could be a fundamental right, but it could not be absolute. Time for a very short break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Gyan chopper is the ancient version of Indian snakes and ladders. This intriguing game was popular among the old, the young, and the rulers as well. The chopper has its origin in the Jain philosophy. It tells the story of virtue, symbolized by the ladders, rewarded, while the vices shown by the snakes are punished. Each square, in turn, also narrates some message of wisdom.
Welcome back after the break. Now an update on flood situation across several states in the country. The toll in Bihar floods rose to 367, with 26 more deaths reported on Wednesday. 1.58 crore people are affected in 19 districts of the state. 696 relief camps have been set up. Araria is the worst hit district with 80 deaths. Chief Minister Nitish Kumar visited the flood hit areas and has handed over a cheque of 4 lakh rupees each to the next of the kin of those killed. The death toll in the UP floods stands at 82. 24 districts are inundated. More than 22 lakh people are affected. The Army choppers, NDRF and PAC personnel continue relief and rescue operations. As per the Central Water Commission, many rivers are flowing above the danger mark in the state. Meanwhile, the situation in Assam has improved considerably. Nearly 7 lakh people, however, are still affected across 11 districts of the state. Moregaon reported one more death on Wednesday. The third wave of flood has so far claimed 71 lives. The toll this year has gone up to 155. The authorities are running 146 relief camps and distribution centers in 8 districts of the state. Meanwhile, in West Bengal, the situation in the 6 flood-hit districts has also improved. No fresh deaths have been reported. The flood toll has reached 152. Out of the nearly 800 relief camps, around 500 are operating, wherein close to 4 lakh people have taken shelters. And India has recorded 1,094 swine flu-related deaths in 2017, with a maximum 342 casualties being reported in the month of August itself. The data was released on Wednesday by the Union Health Ministry, and the highest number of deaths was recorded in Maharashtra at 437, followed by Gujarat with 269, Kerala at 73 and Rajasthan at 69. India has so far recorded 22,186 cases, with Maharashtra again leading the maximum 4,245 cases, followed by Goa with 3,029 and Tamil Nadu with 2,994 cases. The national Delhi has so far recorded 1,719 H1N1 infections and has also recorded 5 deaths. Meanwhile, the Delhi BJP has requested Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal to declare a medical emergency in view of the growing number of swine flu cases in the city.
तो ज़्यादातर वही थे जो जिनकी इम्यूनिटी कॉम्प्रोमाइज थी. तो स्वस्थ आदमी जिसको स्वाइन फ्लू होता है उसको कोई समस्या नहीं होती इस तरह के कॉम्प्लिकेशन. तो जिनको रीनल फेलियर है या जो इम्यूनोसप्रेसेंट ड्रग्स पे हैं, कैंसर थेरेपी पे हैं, किसी कारण से उनकी बीमारी से लड़ने की प्रतिरोध क्षमता जो है कम है, वो इस तरह के सीवियर कॉम्प्लिकेशन उनको होते हैं. साधारणतः किसी को इस तरह से घबराने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. जो बीमारी ज़्यादा महाराष्ट्र गुजरात में है, गुजरात में काफ़ी संख्या में लोगों की मृत्यु हुई है. महाराष्ट्र में भी काफ़ी फैला हुआ है ये इन्फेक्शन, और मध्य प्रदेश में बहुत सीमित है ये.
News from the south of the country. The 6-month-old E. Palaniswamy government continues to face uncertainty in Tamil Nadu as AIADMK Deputy General Secretary TTV Dinakaran on Wednesday removed Revenue Minister and several others from the party. On Tuesday, 18 AIADMK MLAs had withdrew their support to the Chief Minister over the merger. Meanwhile, the Congress has also joined the DMK in demanding a floor test in view of the rebellion within the AIADMK ranks.
The crisis within the ruling AIADMK remains unresolved in Tamil Nadu. AIADMK supporters on Wednesday held protests at the Windflower Resort in Puducherry, where 18-party MLAs who are opposing Chief Minister E. Palaniswamy are staying. The protesters allege that the MLAs are being forcibly detained by AIADMK Deputy General Secretary TTV Dinakaran. These MLAs had on Tuesday told Governor Vidyasagar Rao that they didn't support Palaniswamy as Chief Minister.
These 19 MLA also voted that day to Honorable Chief Minister Party to become a Chief Minister. But when they want to change in the government, why can't they call us? That is our question. And why they want to remove us? That is also another question.
6 months back it was Coimbatore, now it is Pondicherry. So there is not much difference. They are afraid. That means that they don't have confidence in their own people. They have to keep them in a place safely. Otherwise, they feel that they may shift allegiance. That is the case of ADMK.
Chief Minister Palaniswamy said unity was the need of the hour to take the party and the AIADMK government forward. Senior AIADMK leader and Lok Sabha Deputy Speaker M. Thambidurai said the state government was strong and there was no division in the party. Meanwhile, Dinakaran removed several district functionaries and Revenue Minister R.B. Udaykumar from their party posts and appointed his supporters. In a related development, the Congress backed the opposition DMK's demand for a fresh trust vote in the Assembly. This comes after the DMK President M.K. Stalin asked Governor C. Vidyasagar Rao to hold a floor test.
19-20 MLAs withdrawing support means the present Chief Minister naturally he loses the majority. In that situation only, DMK leader Mr. Stalin and as a Congress Tamil Nadu President myself and my floor leader, Congress floor leader Mr. Ramasamy Hall, we have requested the Governor, His Excellency, to convene the Assembly and tell the Chief Minister to prove his majority in the floor of the House.
In the 234-member Assembly, the AIADMK has 134 members. Dinakaran's faction claims 18 MLAs, reducing the strength of the Palaniswamy government to 116. 2 short of the 118 members required for majority. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
News from Pakistan now. In a day after US President Donald Trump asked Islamabad to stop providing safe havens to terrorists, now Pakistani Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa has responded by saying that Washington must trust and treat it with respect. General Bajwa met US Ambassador David Hale at the Pakistan Army's headquarters in Rawalpindi yesterday, where he was briefed on the US's new South Asia policy announced by President Trump. At the meeting, General Bajwa told the US envoy that Pakistan was not looking for any financial assistance from the United States and that the US must understand and acknowledge its contributions in Afghanistan. It is noteworthy that while announcing America's new Afghanistan and South Asia policy, Donald Trump had hit out at Pakistan for offering sanctuaries to agents of chaos. The new US policy calls for greater American troop deployment and Indian involvement in Afghanistan. And China has chastised the US after Washington imposed new North Korea-related sanctions on it. The sanctions imposed by the US target Chinese and Russian firms and individuals for supporting Pyongyang's weapons program. Now, China reacted with irritation, saying Washington should immediately stop its mistake of imposing unilateral sanctions to avoid damaging bilateral cooperation. This came after the US Treasury designated 6 Chinese-owned entities, 1 Russian, 1 North Korean and 2 based in Singapore. The sanctions also targeted 6 individuals, 1 of whom is a Chinese. The move follows a toughened United Nations sanctions agreed this month after North Korea tested the 2 intercontinental ballistic missiles in July.
做法无助于问题的解决，也不利于中美在有关问题上的互信与合作。我们要求美方立即停止有关的错误做法。
Big story coming in from Yemen, where at least 41 people have been killed and 13 others were injured in airstrikes that hit a small hotel in capital Sana'a. Now, this comes amid a standoff between the 2 main components of the rebel alliance, Shiite fighters and loyalists of ousted President Ali Abdullah Saleh. The death toll is likely to rise further. The Saudi-led coalition is waging an extensive air campaign against the Houthis and the forces loyal to Saleh. The conflict has killed over 10,000 civilians and has also displaced 3 million people in that country.
أعلن العدوان السعودي الأمريكي بالاستهداف على مبنى منتزه لوكندا يقطنها عمال يعملون في الغاز مبزغي وكان عددهم يتجاوز 100 وقد تم انتشال جثة 35 شهيد وكذلك مجموعة من الأشلاء لعدد من الضحايا.
And now an update on all the other international stories. Here is the World Wrap. A rock concert in Rotterdam in Spain was cancelled on Wednesday after a tip-off from the police. Just hours after the cancellation, a van containing gas canisters was discovered near the venue. The driver of the van was detained by the police. US band Alalas had been due to perform at the Mesilo concert, but the warning led to the gig being called off at the last minute. However, it is not clear if the van and the terror threat were linked. US President Donald Trump's threat to shut down the government to secure funding for a wall along the Mexican border rattled markets on Wednesday. US stocks and the dollar weakened. Donald Trump made building a border wall to deter illegal immigration a central part of his 2016 election campaign, but the issue of funding it has not gained traction as lawmakers, including many of the president's fellow Republicans, question whether it is necessary. Typhoon Hato left 5 people dead in Macau as it brought chaos and destruction to the enclave after sweeping through neighboring Hong Kong, where 1 man also died. Severe flooding had left cars underwater and people swimming in Macau city streets, with the territory's mega casinos running up on backup generators. The hurricane winds and heavy rains had earlier hit Hong Kong, leaving an 83-year-old man dead after he fell into the sea and more than 120 others injured. A suicide bomber targeting Afghan policemen and soldiers who were collecting their pay killed at least 7 people and wounded more than 40 on Wednesday. The suicide attacker with a car bomb struck in Lashkar Gah, the capital of the southern province of Helmand province. The Taliban claimed responsibility. Meanwhile, Afghan President Mohammad Ashraf Ghani has called upon Taliban militants to join the country's peace process. Now on to cricket news now. India will take on Sri Lanka in the second one-day cricket international at Palikkale in Sri Lanka today. India leads the 5-match series 1-0 after beating the hosts by 9 wickets in the first encounter, which was played at Dambulla this Sunday. Sri Lanka need to win 2 ODIs in this series to make sure that they gain automatic qualification for the 2019 ODI World Cup before the 30th of September deadline. Earlier, India had outplayed the hosts 3-0 in the lopsided 3-test series. The match will today begin at 2:30 p.m.
It was a case of playing 2 left-armers together. That led us to not play Kuldeep in the first game. Aksar, as I said, was favoured more than Kuldeep just from the point of view that he bats quite well and he's gun in the field also. And so I mean, Kuldeep has got opportunities in the past. Chahal and Aksar are guys who haven't got many opportunities, so you want to test them out also. Kuldeep has played the last test as well. So it's all about giving opportunities to people which we feel will not, hamper our plans in any way.
Very, very focused on the process. We have policies and procedures in place which will stand us in good stead into the future. That future will take time, as we have stated before. We certainly can't wave any magic wands around. We're in a position at the moment that England, India, Australia have all found themselves in. We've certainly learned from them and spoken to them. So we're very, very confident about how we're going about our work. And then as of tomorrow, we just come on and keep on fighting.
And in the world of badminton, ace Indian shuttlers Saina Nehwal, Kidambi Srikanth and B. Sai Praneeth have entered the pre-quarter-finals in the singles event of the World Badminton Championships being played in Glasgow. Now, Saina Nehwal beat Sabrina Jacquet of Switzerland in straight games 21-11, 21-12. She will now take on second seed Song Ji Hyun. Now, Sai Praneeth overcame Anthony Sinisuka Ginting of Indonesia in 3 games, 14-21, 21-18, 21-19. He will now face either Germany's Max Wilber or Chinese Taipei's Chao Tien-chen. Meanwhile, Srikanth humbled France's Lucas Corvi 21-9, 21-17. He will now take on 14th seed Anders Antonsen of Denmark. Well, that's all in this edition of news, but news and updates continue on your channel. Thanks for watching.